The text message was a string of numbers. It offered a sum that made my throat go dry. $20,000 to make my roommate, who everyone knew hated that sort of thing, not hated anymore. I dismissed it immediately. Not my problem. Not my business. Then the bathroom door opened, and Liam stepped out, a towel slung low on his hips, his hair dripping. The steam curled around him, and the fluorescent hallway light carved out the sharp lines of his shoulders and stomach. That number, 20,000, echoed in my skull. I wasn't that kind of guy. I just really desperately needed money. Something wrong, Kai? His voice was flat, unreadable. He was taller, broader, and he had that way of looking at you like he was assessing a threat. I flinched without meaning to. No, nothing. My words came out too soft. I grabbed my shower caddy and sidestepped past him into the humid bathroom, my heart doing a frantic tap dance against my ribs. The guy was intense. The idea of trying to, with him? It was a one-way ticket to the campus medical center. Back at my bunk, I blocked the number and reported it. I had to schedule classes, shifts at the campus coffee shop, tutoring gigs. I didn't have time for scams, unless they were wiring 20 grand up front. But I knew Liam. We'd gone to the same high school. I remembered a guy, a loudmouth from the football team, who'd bragged about making a move on some male student. The next day, that football player showed up with a black eye and a broken wrist. No one knew who did it. I did. I'd seen it happen in the alley behind the old movie theater. Liam, usually just quiet, had looked feral. His eyes, when they'd flicked up and met mine for a split second, were pure ice. I'd felt like a rabbit frozen in headlights. Ever since, every glance from Liam felt like a... My phone buzzed on the mattress. A new message from a different number. $1,000. Pirquis. Don't block. Check your account. I sat up so fast the springs groaned. My payment app showed a pending transfer. $500. A deposit. The world seemed to tilt. This wasn't a scam. This was insane. Who had this kind of money to throw around? Okish. $1,000. I glanced across the room. Liam was at his desk, typing, the blue light of his monitor washing over his profile. He took a sip from his water bottle, his throat working. His mouth looked soft, completely at odds with the rest of him. I sent the money back, my fingers trembling. I can't accept this. I'm not like that. I don't know how to do what you're asking. You have the wrong person. The reply was instant. Relax. I'll guide you. Start small. Hold his hand. Then maybe an arm around the shoulders. Work your way up. No rus. A thought, ugly and clear, cut through the panic. This had to be connected. That football player from high school. What was his name? Brad? Brett Carson. He went here too. This had to be him. Some twisted, rich kid's revenge. I typed back, testing. Are you and Liam connected? Do you have some kind of history? A long pause. Then you could say that. That was confirmation enough. Not a random predator, just a rich jerk with a grudge. The tension in my shoulders eased a fraction. Okay. A handhold. That's it. Make it convincing. Fingers laced. Send a picture. You'll get 500. 500. That was a week of extra shifts. The shop manager had cut my hours after I'd gotten dizzy during a rush. The number glowed in the dark of my bunk. A devil's bargain. But devils understood need. I'll try. I'll pay you back. Consider it a loan. The best time would be when he was asleep. I set an alarm for 3:30 a.m. The room was silent, bathed in the thin, blue light from the street lamp outside. Liam slept on his back, one arm resting above the blankets. His hand looked large, the knuckles prominent. I remembered, suddenly, a hazy memory from high school. I'd fainted during gym class. The first person to reach me had lifted me up effortlessly. I felt safe, cradled against a solid chest. I pushed the thought away. I slipped my hand over his. His skin was warm, almost hot. My fingers were chilled. He didn't stir. Carefully, I wove my fingers between his. He gripped them in his sleep, a firm, unconscious pressure. A strange sense of calm washed over me. Asleep, he seemed younger, less like a fortress. I fumbled for my phone with my free hand, angling it. The camera flashed. Done looking? The voice was a sleep-roughened murmur, but it exploded in the quiet room. My heart seized. His hand tightened, fingers locking mine in a vice. He pulled, and I lost my balance, tumbling forward. My free hand shot out, landing in the pillow beside his head, stopping my face from crashing into his. His breath fanned over my lips. I held mine, terrified. "Kai," he mumbled, his eyes still shut. "Your hands are always so cold." A dream. He was talking in his sleep. The relief was so profound it made me dizzy. But I was still trapped, one hand captive, the other pinned. I tried to ease my pinned hand free. His eyes fluttered open. In the gloom, they were unfocused, soft. He smiled, a sleepy, unguarded curl of his lips I'd never seen before. "You came," he whispered. Then he leaned up and kissed me. It was just a brush of his lips against mine, warm and startlingly soft. My brain short-circuited. A silent scream filled my head. By the time my thoughts rebooted, he'd rolled over, releasing my hand, his breathing already deepening back into sleep. I collapsed into my own bunk, face burning. He'd kissed me, a $1,000 kiss, and I hadn't gotten a cent for it. The photo on my phone was a blurred mess, a complete, spectacular failure. The memory of it, the simple, shocking pressure of his mouth, kept me awake. When I finally slept, I dreamed of a white room. A memory, maybe. Someone was holding me, a gentle press against my cheek. I tried to see who it was. "Kai." "Hey, Kai, wake up." Liam was leaning over my bunk, his brow furrowed. He was shaking my shoulder, his touch surprisingly gentle. "You're going to be late." We walked to our morning lecture together, the late autumn air crisp. We ended up in the last 2 seats in the row. I tried to focus on the professor, but my attention kept drifting. Liam took notes, his jaw set in concentration. He didn't seem so terrifying in the flat classroom light. He'd even woken me up. His lips had been so soft. I jerked my gaze back to my notebook. What was wrong with me? I was fixating because of the money. That was all. "You keep staring," he said, not looking up from his notes. I mumbled, my face heating. He reached into the pocket of his hoodie and pulled out a handful of wrapped candies, the kind with the shiny metallic paper. He deposited them into my hands. "For when you get lightheaded," he said, tapping his own temple. A faint, almost invisible smile touched his mouth. "You looked pale." I stared at the candy, then at him. The gesture was so incongruous with the Liam I thought I knew. A strange warmth bloomed in my chest, filling a hollow space I was used to ignoring. "Thanks." My phone vibrated. "Progress report?" I sent back a 0. The whole kissed while sleepwalking incident was getting buried in a deep, dark mental hole. It's weird. He'd probably shove me into a locker. He wouldn't. Try being his friend first. I'm upping the offer. A genuine handhold is worth $500 now. My eyes widened. This guy was practically begging to give money away. I nudged the most perfect, ruby red wrapped candy toward Liam on the desk. "So, Liam, friends?" He leaned closer. "What kind of friends?" "Just regular friends. We've always been friends, Kai." He said it lightly, but his eyes held a shadow of something else. Disappointment, maybe. Had we been in high school? My memory of those years was a fog of trying to be invisible. The only clear things were the bad moments. The first day here, I'd been relieved to see a familiar face in our dorm assignment. I tried to say hello. He'd gone cold, his voice tight. "You changed your number." I'd nodded, explaining I'd given my old one to my grandma. He just stared, the air around him turning to frost, before walking out. I decided then, keep your distance. If we're friends, Liam said now, holding out his hand, let me have your phone. Confused, I handed it over. He tapped at the screen for a minute. There. My number. I'm your first contact. Don't lose it again. The contact name read, Liam, do not delete. I let out a surprised laugh. It looks like spam. Good, he said, and the real smile came back, small but genuine. You should laugh more. It suits you. Later, we walked back across the quad, our breaths making little clouds. My mind was on the $500. His hand swung near mine. The same hand. The valuable hand. Our knuckles brushed. I flinched. Surrendering? Liam asked, a full, bright laugh escaping him. It transformed his face, melting all the sharp edges. For a second, he just looked like a happy guy. He reached over and took my hand, lacing our fingers together with a confident ease, and tucked them both into the warm pocket of his coat. My hand's cold, he said, his voice dipping into a softer register. Be a good friend and warm it up. It was a lie. His hand was a furnace. Mine were always blocks of ice. The heat seeped into my skin, up my arm. I was glad for my scarf, hiding the lower half of my face. People walked past, couples mostly. He didn't seem to notice, just swung our joined hands gently in his pocket. Liam? Yeah. Could you not do that? He was rubbing his thumb over my knuckles in a slow, absent circle. Sorry, he said, but he didn't stop. Your hands are just really soft. 5 minutes passed. The thumb rubbing continued. Fine. A minor tax on a $500 transaction. Could I take a picture? To remember my first friend? He obliged, holding our hands up against the backdrop of the brick library. The contrast was stark. His hand tanned and large, mine pale and slender, fingers tightly entwined. It looked intimate. Send me one, he said. I want to remember, too. Back in the room, I sent the photo to the number. Proof. Pay up. The transfer notification appeared. I stared at the balance. It was that easy. I should have been elated. Instead, a sour guilt settled in my stomach. I was using him. No wonder I'd never had real friends. Whoa, Liam. You're holding out on us. Our roommate, Chris, was staring at his phone. Since when do you have a significant other? My blood ran cold. I pulled out my own phone. Liam had posted the photo. The caption read, a good day. A string of comments and heart emojis already flooded it. I was on my feet, grabbing Liam's arm. My student ID. I think I lost it. Help me look. I hauled him into the hallway and pushed him against the wall. Why would you post that? He looked down at me, amused. You said to remember. You have to take it down. Or explain it's not. That. Okay, he said easily. He took out his phone, typed for a second, and showed me. He'd added a comment. Just friends. Don't read into it. The replies were immediate. Yeah, okay, sure. Just friends things I'm happy, he said suddenly. What? You got mad at me. Really mad. You didn't just shut down. That's good. His expression was so openly pleased, so devoid of the coldness I associated with him, that my irritation evaporated. He looked at me like I was something precious. I sent a message later, feeling unsettled. You might want to double-check your intel. I don't think your target is as straight as you think. Winter dug its teeth in. I was always cold, a deep chill that no amount of layers seemed to touch. My tutoring job was on hold because the kid had the flu. The calculus of my bank account was bleak. You look stressed, Liam said one evening, his hand coming to rest on the back of my neck, his thumb pressing into the tight muscle there. I'd gotten used to these casual touches. The friend's excuse was wearing thin, but I didn't pull away. My sister, Emily. She's a junior. Physics is killing her. You're good at that. I told her you might help. I agreed instantly. More work. More money. Liam's family lived in a quiet, tree-lined neighborhood of spacious modern homes. The difference between his world and mine was a physical weight. Emily answered the door, a golden retriever barking joyfully at her heels. The dog, Duke, immediately plastered himself to my side. "So, you're the famous Kai," Emily said, grinning, before Liam clamped a hand over her mouth. She was sharp, her grades fine. Liam had lied to get me here. After the session, a fine, freezing rain began to fall. Emily begged me to stay over. "It's getting nasty out," she said, and I reluctantly agreed. "Oh no," Emily sighed dramatically, standing in the doorway of a guest room. Duke wagged his tail amidst a chaos of upended cushions and strewn blankets. "Duke had a field day in here. And the other spare room is my mom's craft disaster zone." She turned big, imploring eyes on me. "You'll have to bunk with Liam." "Sorry." Liam had the decency to look sheepish, turning to hide his face. His room was neat, all grays and dark blues. On a shelf, apart from everything else, was a glass jar filled with those shiny candy wrappers. Next to it, a small locked display case held what looked like a faded Band-Aid and a single, plain button. "What's all that?" I asked. He shifted uncomfortably, the tips of his ears turning pink. "Just stuff. Never mind. It's late." The bed was huge. We lay on opposite edges, a canyon of mattress between us. The rain tapped against the window. "Liam," I asked into the darkness, "do you remember Brett Carson?" He was silent for a long time. "Why would you remember him?" He finally said, his voice muffled. "Don't think about him." A pause. "Kui?" My hands are freezing. His fingers found mine under the covers, threading together. Then he shifted, rolling over and wrapping himself around me, his legs tangling with mine, his chest a solid wall of heat against my back. "How do I make you warmer?" He murmured into my hair, his arms tightening. "Just forget the bad things, okay? Get some sleep." The warmth and the rhythm of his breathing pulled me under. The dreams were not kind. They were fragments of a ghost life, being handed off unwanted. Whispers of freak and poor, scratched lockers, torn books, a crushing loneliness that felt like drowning. A child who believed he was born under a bad star, whose prayers were just words lost in the dark. But in the dream, a desk beside mine was always occupied. A quiet presence, a secret exchange of candy, a fierce, silent protection in a shadowy alley, a bloody knuckle, a missing button, a moment in a nurse's office, sunlight streaming in, and the gentle, terrifying press of lips against a fevered cheek. I was shaking, clutching at the source of heat. Clutched back. "You're burning up." Liam's voice was frayed with panic. "Kai, stay awake. I'm taking you to the hospital." I woke to the familiar, antiseptic smell and the beep of monitors. And 4 was in my arm. Liam was slumped in a chair beside the bed, asleep, his hand wrapped around mine. He stirred as I shifted. His eyes flew open, wide with a fear that instantly dissolved into shimmering relief. "You scared me," he whispered, his voice thick. "Hey, Liam," I croaked. "Don't hey me," he said, but he brought my hand to his forehead, leaning into it. I thought you forgot again." So he knew. I have this thing with my brain. Autoimmune. It messes with my memory when I get sick. "I know," he said quietly. "I found your pills. I looked it up. It's treatable." He pressed a kiss to my knuckles. "I like you now. I don't need you to remember anything else. I might never get those memories back. The good ones with you. Then I'll tell you about them," he said. "Every day. The version of you I met this semester, the one who's brave and stubborn and works too hard. That's the one I fell for." When I was discharged, Liam and our roommates took me for pizza. Chris, after 2 beers, slung an arm around my shoulders. "Listen, man. Stop avoiding us. We're cool. We've known about you and Captain Sirius over here for ages." He dropped his voice to a loud whisper. "And the walls in the dorm? Paper thin. We heard the whole Lost ID performance. My face was on fire. Liam just laughed, squeezing my hand under the table. Later, I confronted him. We were walking across the football field, the night air clear and cold. The texts, the money, it was you the whole time. Guilty, he said, not sounding sorry at all. You forgot me, changed your number. You were always working, always tired. I was desperate. I didn't know how else to get close, to help without you pushing me away. How did I figure it out? Your sister, Emily. She added me on social media. I saw her comment on your just friends photo. Something about you owing her for her brilliant plan. He winced, then laughed. She's a menace. That night, when I tried to take the picture, you were awake. The whole time, he admitted, a grin spreading. Best $500 I ever spent. I shoved him. You're unbelievable. You love it, he teased, catching my hand. His expression softened. I'm glad I could help, even in a messed up way. I told you I'd look out for you. I meant it. I'm gonna pay you back. Every cent. He pulled me to him, his lips brushing mine. A real kiss, warm and certain under the stadium lights. Then I'll just have to create a new debt, he murmured. Every day. So you're always tied to me. The bad luck that had followed me like a shadow began to retreat. Not gone, but outshone. The angel I dreamed of had been real all along, stubbornly finding his way back to me. He taught me to stop just surviving the darkness, to reach for a hand in the gloom. Everyone he showed me deserves that chance.